Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel and welcome to issue 85 and also issue 86 of Build the Terminator.
The Terminator, week by week, built the T-800, the killing machine that defined a generation. Easy to build with high-quality metal components. You can control sound, lights, articulated limbs, and LED eyes, and explore the Terminator universe. Build the Terminator, issue 1, just $1.99.
So welcome back everyone, thanks for tuning in for more Terminator. So we're nearly there, almost complete for this month's issues. I haven't got any more after this. I've got issue 85 and 86. So I'm just going to quickly show you what we're going to be working on. I did mention in the last video, we're essentially just connecting the hand to the forearm. And then we are also connecting the whole arm, the whole of the left arm, to the shoulder. There's also a hip joint there, so obviously we're moving on to the other leg after that, which is exciting. So there's not really much to do here. Hopefully it won't be as tricky as the last issues because they were an absolute nightmare. But anyway, let's get started. Okay, so quickly run through the parts for you. So issue 85, which is here. So this part here is the left joint section. We won't even need that, so I'm just going to put that to one side for the future issue. These little parts here, which is 85-3, they are the lower arm shafts. This little plastic section here are the left hand muscle connectors. Then the little black things are washers. You've got three of those rubber washers. Then the screws, we've got 4 PB 2x6mm, and that's it. Obviously you need the hand, you also need the arm, and I also will bring over the Terminator model when I get to issue 86, but that's that part there. And issue 86, again, we've got another part for the leg. This is a joint section. We don't need that, so I put that away. Then moving on to the parts here. So this is 864. This is a left shoulder joint connector. Then you've got a cap, 863. Then you have a pin. This is the left shoulder pin. The 2 long screws, they are PM3 x 10mm Allen screws. Obviously you need your Allen key for that. And lastly, you've got also some joint washers. So one of them you only need today, the other one we'll be using later. Okay, so steps 1 to 3, you're going to take the lower arm shafts. And what you're going to do on each one, you're going to take the washer and you're going to pop it on the end of the shaft. And then you're going to screw it in with one of your PB screws. So you've got to do that on each one. So I'm just going to film the first one, then you'll know what obviously to do after that. Don't need to film each one. So just put that back on. As always, something fiddly, just what I love. For those who don't know, I hate fiddly things. So this Terminator is probably one of the hardest things I've ever done in my life. Okay, so I've got that screw in there, so I'm just going to secure it now. And that's the first one, so that's how it should look. So you've got to do that 2 more times and then we can move on to the next step. So steps 5 and 6, you're going to take the hand and spin it round, and what you'll see at the bottom of the fingers, there's these little holes, if you can see that, and you're going to put those little spring connectors inside there, because obviously that's what's going to hold in the muscle springs from the forearm. So I'm just going to check it before I do it, because it's been a while since I did this last, and obviously from the other issue when we did the first arm, it's quite a while, so I'm just going to double check how they go in before I actually super glue them, because you're going to need to super glue these parts into place. So it's a bit too small to show you, but there's like a cylindrical towel on there, and that's the part you're going to super glue. It's not the little part, the little pin on the end, it's actually the towel part. So I'm just going to pop that on there. This bit's very fiddly because these parts are very small, so be careful with them. Just going to put the first one into place. Hold that down for a minute or two so the super glue takes effect. The first one is just there in place now, just there as you can see. So I'm just going to go do the other 3. So I'm just doing the last one now. I just found it a bit easier to actually put the glue on in the little crevice beforehand rather than on the actual connector, because it just keeps getting stuck to my finger. And also just use tweezers. It does mention use tweezers, but I thought I'd try to do it without them. But I'll be honest, this part is so small and it's so fiddly with you know, not much room really to get into. especially where the thumb is on this last bit. These tweezers are a lot easier for that finesse to put it in there. So, and you know, not everyone's got finesse or delicate hands. Obviously, me being a weightlifter, I'm very heavy-handed, so I'm finding this quite challenging. I'm not going to lie, but I'll persevere and I will complete it. If I can just get this last part in there. Okay, so they're all in there, if you can see, just around there. So that's that part complete, so we can move on to the final steps. Okay, so steps 8 to 12. What you're going to do, you're going to take the new shafts that we just worked on here, and you're going to put them into the forearm where there's already 3 shafts. So you will see there are 3 shafts there already. We're going to pop those in there. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that now. Obviously you're going to put it from the rubber end in first, because that's what's helping to secure them. It won't go in the other way anyway, so obviously it's quite self-explanatory, but nonetheless that's what you have to do. And that's how that looks at that point. Then at this stage, what we want to do, we're going to take the hand, and the large ball, that's the one that's going to connect into this last shaft, this big shaft here. So I'm just going to flip it around, so make sure I've got the right orientation, because we don't want to put it upside down obviously. And that should just thread through, that should just pop in there nicely. One other thing as well, the other ball sockets, they pop into the other shaft, so all ball sockets are going to fit into those 4 shafts at the end of the arm. So that's obviously how it all stays together. So I've just popped the biggest one in through first, so I'm just going to work on the other 3 now. So just pop those on. They just pull down onto it nicely, so you don't have to force that. So there you go, that's that connected up now, so the ball joints have gone in nicely. So you'll now see that the muscle springs are loose. This is the final part where we're going to connect them up to the fingers. So now what you want to do, you're going to flip over the arm and hand, and what you're going to do, you'll see that there are holes on the hand, so you're going to thread those muscle springs through those holes. So I'm just going to do one at a time. Again, another fiddly job, so looking forward to this. Might use my tweezers for this, just to pull that through. Also, one thing to note by the way, when I did the other hand, I accidentally put too much pressure onto those, onto the muscle springs, and what happened as a result was I wasn't able to secure them down how I wanted. Because what you do, there are grooves at the back of the hand, which I'm going to show you in a sec once I've threaded these through, and that's where you super glue these down. And if you put too much pressure on these muscle springs, they lose their shape and fray, and then they're screwed basically. So you have to be super careful. And you know, one of them, unfortunately, I did damage on the other hand. You can't see it obviously, but you know, hopefully I won't do the same on this hand, because it will be a shame, because it won't be as much with the finesse there and perfection. But obviously if it was a real Terminator, let's face it, he's not going to be perfect anyway, he's damaged. So you can see that I've pulled those through there, so they're now through, and just here, these little metal parts, there's some grooves, and that's where you're going to super glue those springs down to that. So I'm just going to do that now. So this bit's a bit difficult to show you, so I'm just gonna go ahead and put the super glue on, because at these angles I need to be able to see what I'm doing more than what you can see I'm doing, but you will see the finished product nonetheless. Okay, so after I've run out of some super glue, which didn't help things, I've successfully put those muscle springs underneath. May I add, there are some pins which are meant to be the other way around, which actually allow the springs to go inside of it. I did that on the right arm, but not for this arm, because when I did it on the other arm, it was just a complete pain in the arse and so fiddly I didn't bother. So all I've done, you may see there, I've just literally super glued them down. It may not look as aesthetic, but I'll be honest, who's going to look at the back of the hand? Not likely to happen. So that is that issue complete. I've skipped steps 1 and 2 by the way, because these are the hip joint parts, and all it wants you to do is literally just to slide these on. So it's so simple and basic for the hip. I'm not even going to bother, because we can just leave that for now until we move on to the arms. So the next part you want to take the metal component, which is 86.3, and you're actually going to pop that on the other side of the shoulder cap and just thread that through. You will need the Allen key by the way, because obviously that's what's going to secure this to that. So I'm just going to pop that in. Okay, so once you've slotted that into that component there, that's how it's going to be looking. Okay, so bear me on the camera work. I've had to change it around. As you can see, Terminator takes up a huge amount of space now, so it's much more difficult. You're then going to take obviously the arm, and what you're going to do, you're going to line it up with obviously the corresponding part here, so for the shoulders. So what you need to do, you need to make sure that the plate is actually facing on the outside. I will spin it around so you can see, and what we're doing, we're sliding the shoulder part here, so the arm, the shoulder joint is going to thread through there, so you just slide that through and then you'll secure the Allen key from the top. Just going to line that up, and you will be able to see it better once I spin it around for you. It's just a little bit difficult and tricky. So once you've got that in place, you're going to put the Allen key through the top of the hole, and this section here will go underneath, and then that's obviously what's going to be tied through on the Allen key. So bear with me on this one. This is the final step, and then this entire issue will be complete. So I forgot to mention by the way that you need the PM 3x10mm screw, and obviously that's what's going to lock those two joints together from underneath. So I'm just going to slide that through, just twist him over slightly, being very careful because obviously he's still very heavy, and certain parts are a little bit flimsy, as you may have just heard a screw fell out there, probably the finger. Wouldn't surprise me. Fingers have been an absolute nightmare. I'll be honest, this has been the worst set of issues I've ever had the privilege of doing. It's been more fiddly and time consuming than I ever could have imagined, and I'm going to be very happy to have it complete. I'm not going to lie. Okay, so I'm just screwing in the Allen key now, or the screw, sorry, with the Allen key, should I say. And then that will be finally affixed to the shoulder. The arm, the left arm, will be attached. And there we go, that is issue 85 and 86 complete. So as you can see, I've got a baby. Everyone welcome Percy. This is Percy, my first son. So as you can see, against the Terminator, he's pretty small next to it, so it just goes to show how big the Terminator actually is. I've successfully built myself a cyborg here in the flesh and also down below. So, say goodbye Percy. Bye bye. Okay, so I've just come back. Obviously had to give the baby back to the missus. Can't obviously just mess around with him too much. So as you saw there, the cyborg, the Terminator, is obviously bigger than a newborn baby. He's 5 weeks old, and he currently weighs about, I think, 9.5 pounds or so. Obviously he's nowhere near as long as the Terminator, and you can see, I mean, the Terminator's off the screen. I'm just gonna stand it up a little bit, just so you can see. That's how he's currently looking. So now we've finally got both arms done, and obviously one leg. And in the next issues, so obviously it's going to be 87 to 91, 4 issues. We're going to be starting on the left thigh. So working on the last leg, and obviously you saw we've got those two hip parts for the legs. So I haven't put them together, but like I said before, there was no real need to, because there wasn't much to do. You just slot them in, and that's that. The other washer, by the way, that was supplied with 86, will be used in that issue. So yeah, thanks for watching. Yeah, sorry it's been a bit of a faff, but it's been quite difficult. Like I said, these fingers haven't been too easy, but now after all this time, finally got 2 limbs complete. So nearly nearly done on the limbs. Once the limbs are done, we'll be moving on to the torso, so obviously working all the springs, hydraulics and whatnot, which will be to look like, you know, functioning human with arteries and veins and you know what, for a cyborg. So really exciting. Hopefully I'll get the other motor soon as well, so I can control both of the lights, because I've only got one. That's why I haven't shown you with the light shining, but it's coming. So, you know, not long left now. Like I said, only 120 issues. I've done up to 86, so we are well over halfway, with not much long to go, which is a shame. But I will be very happy to have it complete, because it's been very challenging at times, but it's going to be very rewarding ultimately. So anyway, hope you liked today's video, guys, and if you did, as always, leave a like, comment and subscribe, and until next time, I'll see you soon.